Has your critical thinking improved or declined with the use of artificial intelligence? If you're interested in improving your critical thinking, then this post is for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Carlos Valdez, founder and director of mercadotecniventas.com, an educational portal where 90% of our content is free. Our mission is to educate and inspire students, academics, and professionals in the areas of marketing and sales through innovative and practical content aimed at developing essential skills to create value. This is our video blog for October 11 of 2025 titled Why is Important Thinking Critically in the Age of AI. So let's begin. Artificial intelligence is one of the greatest inventions of creative, innovative, and critical human thought. However, replacing our own thinking with AI-generated responses can pose a serious risk to human intelligence. This blog post seeks to explore and defend the importance of critical thinking in business, especially in marketing and sales. We're also going to examine how we can continue to develop this skill in the era of automation and generative tools. But let's begin with what is critical thinking? Okay, according to Harvard Business Review, critical thinking is about asking better questions to evaluate situations, make decisions, and solve complex problems. McKinsey, on the other hand, ranks it as one of the most important cognitive skills for the future of work, including it in its 56 essential deltas, skills that will increase in demand due to the rise of AI and automation. According to McKinsey, critical thinking is the ability to analyze information objectively and make a reasoned judgment. Are there different types of critical thinking? Yes. Although the term is commonly used in general, researchers and educators have identified subtypes or approaches that may be more useful depending on the context. Here are a few. Analytical critical thinking. Focus on breaking down complex problems into simpler parts. Useful for marketing strategies, segmentation, and campaign analysis. Evaluative critical thinking centers on judging the quality of arguments or proposals, key for consultative sales and executive presentations. Creative critical thinking enables the generation of new ideas and associations, especially used for advertising campaigns and content. Reflective critical thinking involves questioning your own assumptions and decisions, fundamental for continuous improvement processes and leadership. And last but not least, practical critical thinking. Direct applications of analysis to real-world problems and actionable solutions. Which one is the most used in business, marketing, and sales? The answer is practical critical thinking is the most applied in business. This type of reasoning focuses on fast, strategic decision-making based on data analysis, consumer observation, and proposal evaluation. For example, a salesperson who adjusts their pitch based on verbal and non-verbal feedback from the customer is using practical critical thinking. A marketer who analyzes A/B testing data to decide which campaign to escalate is also applying this type of reasoning. According to McKinsey's report, Talking a skills-based approach to building the future of workforce, practical cognitive skills like critical thinking, decision-making, and problem-solving are among the most in-demand skills for companies worldwide. AI plus critical thinking equals co-pilots, no replacements. Using AI strategically can enhance our critical thinking. These tools can help us in generating initial ideas, visualize complex data, identify patterns, and simulate decisions-making scenarios. However, AI is a co-pilot, not a pilot. If we stop thinking for ourselves and simply accept AI answers without evaluating them, we risk weakening one of our most important human capacities. As Harvard Business Review states, the power of asking questions remains as a very solid human characteristic. Critical thinking is about asking better questions, according to Harvard. Now, let's talk about 5 strategies to develop practical critical thinking in marketing and sales in the age of AI. Number 1, ask reflective questions, the foundation of critical thinking. Critical thinking does not start with answers. It begins with powerful reflective questions. Train yourself and your team to challenge assumptions, to analyze data from multiple angles, and to ask why and for what purpose behind every AI-generated insight. Some examples of reflective questions on this section are: what's missing from this analysis? How do I know this recommendation fits my client? Am I reading or just accepting this information? Number 2, cross-check sources and perspectives. AI generates content quickly, but speed does not guarantee depth. A critical mind compares what AI says with human sources, databases, academic research, or commercial intuition developed through years of experience. Reflective questions can be: what will a real customer say about this conclusion? Does this recommendation align with what I know about the market? And what are the arguments for and against? Number 3, access context before executing. AI is great at analyzing data, but does not understand the context like humans. Before making decisions, pause and consider the timing, environment, client culture, and broader objectives. Reflective questions is: what's happening in the industry or region that could affect this? How does this decision impact brand perception long term? And is this the right moment to act? Number 4, anticipate unintended consequences. Automation can solve problems or create new ones. Thinking critically means projecting possible outcomes before implementing a solution. Reflective questions are: what could go wrong with this decision? What impact could this have on other departments of channels? How would an unhappy customer respond? Number 5, reflect after acting. Critical feedback loops. Critical thinking also happens after action. Review your results, identify mistakes, detect tools or interpretation bias, and adjust with purpose. Reflective questions are: what did I learn from this experience? How could I have done it better? What will I change next time? In conclusion, thinking critically equals thinking strategically. In the world of marketing and sales, critical thinking is the engine that allows us to adapt, innovate, and differentiate. It helps us to detect opportunities in data. It allows us to access proposals with discernment. And most importantly, it helps us to generate real value. That's why in the age of AI, continue to think for ourselves is not optional, it's a professional obligation. I will close by reminding you that 90% of our content at mercadotecniaventas.com is free. Also, I recommend the Red Manual for Marketing and Sales Coordinators. It's not a book, it's a practical guide to help you to recall the most important topics and how to apply it with AI. And let me conclude by reminding you that in marketing and sales, we always need to generate value. Thank you, and until next time.